Hi, boys and girls. Mrs. Kappel here. How are you today? Today is Monday, June 1st, 2020. It's an interesting day. Yes, my friends, this is a very interesting day because it is the first day of June. So I bet you're wondering what our pattern is going to be. And what else are you noticing? That's right. Mrs. Capel did not give you any numbers for tracing. So every single day is going to be a pencil day. And I know you've been practicing very, very hard all these last few months how to make your numbers look just like mine. So I'm going to make my number one right like that so you can see it. And I bet you're wondering what our color is going to be. Do you remember Mrs. Capel's favorite color? Purple, but it's not the violet. It's not the blue violet. It's light violet purple. So I'm going to put my circle down here, and that will show you that that's going to be the start of our pattern. I didn't tell you yet what the other colors are going to be, so you'll have to tune in tomorrow. So do be sure that you are coloring inside your box really carefully after you've shown your grown-ups how neatly you made your numbers and that they look just like mine. I hope you had a really nice weekend, boys and girls. The weather was a little chilly, wasn't it? Didn't quite feel like June weather. But just so you know, even though it's a little cool outside, you still need sunscreen because you could still get a sunburn. That's right. Okay, so color in your box for number one nice and neatly. Look at how I'm staying so carefully inside the lines. And we've got some beautiful pictures here of some flowers and bumblebees that I hope you color beautifully as well. You know how much Mrs. Capel likes to color, right? Okay, so my friends, have you been enjoying some of my nonfiction books about the ocean and fish and things? Don't forget to check out Seesaw today for a mystery science all about fish. I found those to be fascinating. Speaking of fascinating, I have, do you like my fancy word? Fascinating? Well, that's because I think the starfish is an incredible creature. And that's what this book is called, Starfish. And starfish also have another name. Sometimes they're called sea stars. So if you ever hear the word sea star, you know they're talking about a starfish. Okay, so this nonfiction book is going to give you lots of facts, lots of things to learn about. So when you hear something that makes you say, oh, or makes you say, wow, I want you to go tell somebody. Go tell somebody, hey, guess what I learned about sea stars? Guess what I just learned about starfish? There's something right there you can teach them, right? Okay. So take a look at the end pages. These are all sea stars. Yes, they do come in all those different colors. Starfish. This is a let's read and find out science book. We are going to learn about the world under the ocean. Starfish. Starfish live in the sea. Starfish live deep down in the sea, and they live in pools by the sea. Now, not the kind of swimming pools you might have at your house, but small areas of water are called tide pools. When the tide comes in, well, the fish come into this little area, and then when the tide comes out, they're like little pools. You may have seen them if you've gone to the ocean. Some starfish are purple, and some starfish are pink. This is the sunflower starfish. It's the biggest of all, and starfish have many arms. The arms are called rays. Starfish have arms but no legs. Starfish have feet but no toes. They glide and slide on tiny tube feet. They move as slowly as a snail. See, they're hanging on to some kelp. It's kind of like a seaweed. This basket star looks like a starfish, but it is a little different. It doesn't have tiny tube feet. It moves with its rays. It has rays that go up and rays that go down. So, what are their arms called? Rays. That's right. Now, tiny brittle stars are like the basket star. They hide under rocks in pools by the sea. The mud star hides in the mud. It's a starfish. It has tiny tube feet. It's hiding from something that might come and eat it. A starfish has no eyes. It has no ears or nose. Its tiny mouth is on its underside. So when a starfish is hungry, it slides and it glides on its tiny tube feet. It hunts for mussels and oysters and clams. It feels for the mussels. It feels for the oysters. It feels for the clams. It feels for something to eat. So there he is, and he's using his rays. Go around and feel. These are mussels. Mussels, clams, they all have those hard shells and the sea creature that lives inside. The starfish crawls over a clam. Here we go. Its rays go over it and under it. It goes all over the clam. The starfish pulls and pulls and pulls the shell until it opens, and then it eats the clam inside. Have you ever opened a pistachio shell and you've gotten the nut from inside? It's kind of like the way a starfish eats. Sometimes a starfish loses a ray. A crab may pull it off, a rock may fall on it, but this does not hurt. It does not bother the starfish because the starfish grows another ray. So this ray just got cut off because the crab tried to grab him and eat him. If the crab did not eat it, say it got chopped off by a rock, this starfish here will grow another ray. And if the ray by itself was left alone, it would grow into a new starfish. So that means it regenerates. Can you say that with me? Regenerate. That's right. So it'll grow a new arm, and the arm will grow a whole new body. Does that happen to people? No. That's why you should always keep your body healthy and stay safe because you only get this one body. Our bodies do not regenerate. In the spring, when the sun shines warm and the sea grows warm, starfish lay eggs. Starfish lay eggs in the water, and they lay many tiny eggs. The eggs actually look like sand in the sea. Can you see those? The tiny eggs float in the water up and down, and they move with the waves and the tide. I know in this picture it's a little hard to see. I'll get really close. There you go. You can see them now? The tiny eggs change and grow. They float in the water. They move with the waves back and forth and back and forth, and then they sink to the bottom. That's when they grow into tiny starfish. The tiny starfish grow scratchy and hard. They grow their little rays and their tiny tube feet to crawl on. You see who's going to come along and munch on them? That's right. Baby starfish eat and eat and eat. First, they eat tiny things that float in the sea. Then they eat mussels and oysters and clams. They eat and grow and they grow. There are many different starfish. Some are fat, some are thin, some are prickly and pink and prickly and gray, and some are just a tangle. Look on the rocks by the sea. Look in the pools by the sea. Look for starfish, the stars of the sea. So if you visit the ocean this summer, boys and girls, try to find an area where there's rocks and you might come upon a tide pool with lots of wonderful sea creatures like the sea star. So starfish are not really fish. They are related to sea urchins and sand dollars. Scientists call starfish sea stars. So we're scientists too. So you could make your own starfish with just paper and pencil and sandpaper. If you have sandpaper at home. If you don't have sandpaper, maybe you could ask your dad or your grandpa, or you can use sand. Now, you draw or trace the starfish on a piece of paper. You can be sure to add one, two, three, four, five rays. Maybe you could use your fingers to trace and kind of turn your hand around so it's in the shape of a starfish. Cut out your pattern and put the piece of sandpaper with the rough side down on top of your paper. And then you trace that star that you draw, you trace it onto the sandpaper. Then you carefully cut out your starfish from the sandpaper and you can paint it. Turn it over to the rough side and paint it any beautiful color you like, just like we saw in the book. Now, if you don't have sandpaper, use a heavier piece of paper, like maybe the inside of a cereal box, the cardboard of a cereal box, and then put glue all over it. Then sprinkle sand if you have playground sand, if you have a little sandbox at home, and just sprinkle the sand all over it, make it nice and flat, and let it dry. That would make a beautiful starfish. Okay, so I have some other books, and I will try to find you some other links about starfish, and I will attach them to Seesaw. Look at this end page, how beautiful. So now you have learned a lot about starfish. Go tell somebody what you've learned. Have a great day today, boys and girls. Bye bye for now.